Hey Breakaway and Edge, so glad you guys are with us here today in our Vibe series where we are talking about fear. But quickly, I want to celebrate Matt, Lily, and Sylvia. All right, these three students just got baptized earlier today. I'm filming this on Saturday, so if you're watching on Sunday, it was yesterday. But so proud of you guys and really excited to see how God is going to work in you in the future. So just want to celebrate you guys getting baptized. And now, we are talking about fear. Now, if you are anything like me, this past year has had lots of fear involved in it, right? We've had fear of getting COVID, fear of family members getting sick, or maybe they were sick. Maybe we had fear of all the injustices going on in our country. Maybe we had fear of riots and protests, or maybe fear of going into online school. Maybe once you transition from online back to in-person, you had fear of what was it gonna feel like? Was it gonna feel normal, right? We all have had to deal with different fears this past year, and I'm sure at times it felt overwhelming. I'm sure fear overtook us in some type of way. Now, there's a good side of fear, and the good side of fear is that it informs us, right? Fear informs us of dangers going on around us, right? When our body doesn't feel comfortable, when our body is telling us that there's danger or things around us that might harm us, we have the emotion of fear, and it's super helpful. It informs us. But when fear starts to overtake us, when fear starts to take control or be the boss of us, right? When we can't control our fear, that is when it becomes unhelpful, right? And I think some of us have experienced that before, where fear becomes unhelpful and it overtakes us and we can't control it. But there is some good news, and it's that Jesus talks a lot about fear. And so we're gonna look at one story where Jesus talks about fear, and that's in Matthew 8. And we're gonna see what lessons we can learn from this story that we hear about Jesus. So Jesus has his 12 main disciples, his followers, right? And they're out on a boat in the sea. And this is what Matthew writes about their experience on this boat. He says in Matthew 8:24, he says, "Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat." So they're all on this boat and waves start crashing over, and they're in a storm. The winds pick up, the waves are crashing, they're in a storm. And Jesus, what is he doing during this? Well, he's sleeping. Yep, Jesus is taking a nap, and I think that's kind of funny because I think I can sleep through a lot of things, but I'm not sure I could sleep through a storm while on a small boat with waves crashing over it. So they're freaking out. They're probably overwhelmed with fear. In fact, they're so worried that they wake Jesus up and they go, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." So that's verse 25, and then we see in verse 26, Jesus wakes up, and how does he respond? Well, he responds not worried at all. In fact, he responds by telling them, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Now, I can imagine they're sitting there like, why are we so afraid? Look around. We're in the middle of a storm in a tiny little boat in the middle of the sea, right? Like, why are you even asking this question? But the thing is that Jesus was about to teach them about his greatness and also about fear. So Jesus gets up, and without a panic, Jesus does this. Matthew says that Jesus spoke to the wind and waves, and they calmed down. Right? So the disciples were amazed, and they responded, verse 27, by saying, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and waves obey him." This is unbelievable, right? And in one moment, in one instance, their confidence in Jesus overtook their fear of the storm. Right? They were overwhelmed with fear and worry and anxiety, but in one moment, Jesus overtook that, right? Their confidence in Jesus overtook that. They responded by being in awe of his power. So Jesus showed them that their feelings of fear didn't have to control them or be the boss of them. He showed them that there is somebody bigger and more capable than whatever they are afraid of. So what happens when you guys have somebody bigger than your circumstances? Right? It builds our confidence. So because of this story right here, we can see that Jesus is with us in the middle of it all. He's with us when we go through storms in life. Not only is he with us, but that God that is with us is greater than all the storms and the waves in our life, and he is with us throughout all of that. That's part of following Jesus. We don't have to fear because we know that Jesus is greater than all, and that's where our confidence comes from. So because of Jesus, fear does not have to be the boss of you. So yes, we know that fear is helpful, right? It informs us. It tells us about dangers around us or that we might experience. So fear informs us, but fear does not have to rule us. That is the important part right there. Now, when we do have fear, when we think fear is starting to control us or be the boss of us or becomes overwhelming, here's a few things that we can do that I think will help a lot. Now, the first one is to name your fear and write it down. Okay, so write it down in a journal, write it down on a Post-it note, on your notes app on your phone. I don't care where you do it, but name your fear and write it down. Put a name to it. Say, God, I am afraid of this. God, I am afraid of showing up to school because I'm worried people are going to make fun of me. So name your fear and write it down. The second part is to throw it to Jesus, right? 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. And that word cast that is used in that sentence is an active word saying to throw or to hurl. So it's not a passive word, but it's an active word, literally meaning to throw. So what it's saying is throw your anxiety to God because he cares for you. That's what it's saying. So that's what I want us to do, is to give that to God, right? Talk to God. Say, God, I am giving you my fear of blank because I know you are greater than it. I know you are more important than it. I know you're stronger, and I know that you can overtake this fear in my life. My confidence in you is greater than this fear, right? Speak truth over that. And then the last one is to talk to somebody about it. Talk to a small group leader, talk to your parents, talk to a trusted friend, somebody in your life, because when you get it out of you, it helps remove the power that it has over you. And that person, hopefully that trusted person, is somebody who can encourage you and point you back to God to go back to the second step of throwing your fear to Jesus. So, because of Jesus, fear does not have to be the boss of you. Remember that and practice that this week. Go through those steps when you have fear. And I'm excited to see how we live our lives fearless and how we can live our lives for the gospel. So thank you guys for joining this week. Excited to see your conversations in small group, and we are going to see you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye.